Congratulations, you made it through level 1 and now you're on to level 2. Let's keep chucking away. Okay, so this time we're going to do something a little different and interpret a table. So we did reading a table, now we're interpreting it. So it's already completed for us, and we're going to do some comparisons here. So we've got Jenna and Maria, and they are texting. So it says the following tables show how many words each person can text in a given amount of time. Compare the rates of texting for each person using the ratio tables. So I'm going to do something just a little different on this one. I will help you with the answer for part A, which asks to compare who texts more words per minute. But I'm also going to kind of give you a little bit of leeway with part B, where it asks you to explain how you know your answer. So I'm going to talk through several different ways that you could explain how to compare which person texts more words per minute. But you are going to pick which one way makes most sense to you that you are going to explain for part B. So I'm going to give you a wide range of ways you could look at this, and you might even see one different than maybe I explained, and if you can justify it accurately, fine. Because at the end of this section, when you get done with your explanation, you're going to get a teacher signature by showing your answers to these questions. So yes, I know I'm going over them in the video, but your job is to put them in your own words based off of what we talk about here. So let's get started. So if I was going to start comparing Jenna and Maria, there's lots of numbers going on this table. But something that jumps out to me right away is this comparison when I look at the chart as far as what's happening for each person. So for example, when I look at Jenna and it says 2 minutes, it's going 2, 4, 6, 8, and it's doing 50, 100, 150, 200. Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern. Now, you might say, oh, well, she's texting 50 words a minute. Well, no, because that's based off of 2 minutes she's texting 50 words. So what I need to do is think, well, how do I get from 2 to 50? And I'm doing times 25. So if I check that for each one, 4 times 25 gives 100, 6 times 25 gives 150, and 8 times 25 gives us 200. So that's what we're multiplying the minutes by each time to get the words. So that means in 1 minute, so I'm going to just write 1 over on the side here. Oops, a little crooked. She's texting 25 words. Okay, so that's like basically what we're finding. We'll talk more about this later, but that's called a unit rate, where we found 1 minute and how many words would that be. So I'm going to do the same thing with Maria and make that same comparison and look at the minutes to see what's happening to them to get the words. So if I look at 3 to 90, I know I can take 3 times 30 to get 90. So I'm going to look at each one of those. And if I use that trick of covering up the 0, I know 5 times 3 is 15. So 5 times 30 would be 150. I'm going to do the same thing with 6. 6 times 30 is 180, and 9 times 30 is 270. So this one is going to be for 1 minute, Maria is texting 30 words. So that is one way I could compare, and I can really easily see Maria texts more words than Jenna does, because once I compared it down to 1 minute, there was more words being texted by Maria. That's one way you could explain your answer. So we already know now for A, Maria is the one that texts more words. And that's one way you could explain it, is you could find their unit rate to figure out how many do they text in 1 minute and compare how many words it is. So that's one way you can do it. Let me erase and do a different comparison here. Here is another comparison you could make. So if I look at the table as is, I want to find something that's the same, whether it's the same number of minutes or the same number of words, because then I can look at what's different and compare those accordingly. So I'm going to look at this column right here. Oh, let me get my pen back 1 second. There we go. So do you see how on this column I've got 6 minutes here and 6 minutes here? So then I could very easily compare the words. So if we look at that, Jenna has 6 minutes, she texts 150 words. Maria has 6 minutes, she texts 180 words. So Maria, again, is texting more words than Jenna with the same given amount of time, 6 minutes. So again, that makes sense. That supports what we just said, that Maria does text more. This time, though, we're comparing based off of 6 minutes. So instead of finding what it was in 1 minute like we did on originally, and we are saying, okay, we times by the same thing each time, we could just look at the information given to us already, find a time that's the same, and compare how many words, and see that Maria texts more words. So that's another way to explain how Maria texts more words than Jenna. here's one more way, at least that I notice. I'm sure there are other ways that you could describe this, but these are the ones that jump out the most obviously to me. So now instead of looking for the same minutes, I'm going to look for the same amount of words. So here is where Maria has 150 words, and here is where Jenna has 150 words. So now this time the word count is the same, but their times are different. So if I look at Maria's, she only takes 5 minutes to text 150 words, whereas Jenna takes 6 minutes to text 150 words. So it means that Jenna takes longer to text the same amount of words that Maria can do in a shorter amount of time. So that means Maria can text that many words faster than Jenna. So again, Maria texts more words per minute. So that's another way you could explain it, is that when they have the same amount of words, it takes Maria less time to text those words than it takes for Jenna to text those words. So those are some ways that you can explain how Maria is the faster texter, but you can also find other ones. Those are 3 different ways I told you. The unit rate, where you find out how many per minute they're doing. You can find a same amount of time and see how many words they're texting to see who's bigger, or you could find the same amount of words and compare the time. Okay, lots of different ways. So now your job is you should already figure out that for A, Maria was the one who texted more words per minute, and we talked about 3 different ways to do that, and if you can find another, fine, go for it. But your job now is to explain how you use the tables to find your answer. So pick one of the ways that I talked about, or one of your own that you noticed that I didn't mention, and explain how that tells whoever it is you're explaining this to that Maria is the faster texter. Once you have done that, go to your teacher and show your answers, and they will give you a signature to move on to your next section. So good luck, you've got this, and go ahead and interpret this table however makes sense to you.